Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fire Your Inner Critic, Find Your Inner Badass, and finally build your business. I'm Cassandra Von Worsley. We are talking about FB Live training that definitely makes the difference. So, when it comes to firing your inner critic, one of the things that the inner critic loves to use against us, loves to see us be a part of, and enjoys it when it crashes and burns is something that a lot of entrepreneurs call the imposter syndrome. And here's the thing about the imposter syndrome. There is the imposter syndrome that is born out of fear and doubt and guilt and shame and wondering if you're good enough and the inner critic raging, and yet you're still doing the work of building a business. And then there's the imposter syndrome that is real, upfront, and personal, where we might be watching entrepreneurs who are doing their FB lives, they're going on other people's podcasts, they're doing events with major influencers, they're talking all this stuff and saying that they're doing all these things, when if you really know them, they are not who they claim to be. So there's perceived imposter syndrome, and then there's real imposter syndrome. Now, why does that relate to our training today? Because in today's training, I'm going to talk about how do you stop comparing and competing with people who talk much more than they actually in real life deliver. And it's hard because social media has given everybody the ability to present whatever image that they want the world to see, whether that image is factual or actual in their lives. And it especially gives entrepreneurs a platform to pretend to be things that they aren't, to pretend to be multimillionaires when they're not, to pretend that they are, making 6 or 7 figures when they're not. So we have to be very intuitive and very gut smart and very inquisitive and curious about who we pay attention to and who we compare ourselves to. And in fact, comparison is not the realm, especially when you're trying to deal with your inner critic. You want to find that inner badass and you want to finally build your business. Comparison is not where you start in that process, because comparison is the thief of creativity and the thief of productivity. Comparison really steals what uniquely qualifies you to be the person that you are, building the business that you are. So let's start there. Number one, let's throw out competing out of the thing. And a lot of people go, well, it's business, you're always going to be competing. Not really. Not really. Creation is way more powerful than competition. And in business, if you truly understand what is your only sustainable competitive advantage, do you know what your only sustainable competitive advantage in business is? It's you. Because you can't be replicated, you can't be duplicated, you're not a process, you're not a system. You, the full you, the all-out you, the messy, happy, joyful, angry, La Vida Loca, hot mess at moments you. Everything that you bring to the table is the only thing in your business that cannot be duplicated. So when you understand that it's you, that you're the center, you're the core, one, you start trying to compete with other people and be just like them. And two, you get off of the plane of competition and you go into the realm of creation, and you create from a place of being authentically, wholly, completely you. So that's the first thing. We throw out the comparing. But here's the other thing. It's hard to not look at what other people are doing in their business, or not looking at how other people have risen quickly in a business or built a 6-figure business in 6 months, or you look at people like Sarah Blakely and Spanx and you go, man, she's a billionaire, and she stayed up till 2:00 in the morning when she was working a full-time job, and I want to be like that, but how do I even get there? And so sometimes we're comparing and competing with people who do deliver and who have proven results and are doing really great. But I want to focus today's training on how we can stop comparing and competing with people who you don't have proof that they've done what they say they've done. You don't have, you notice that they're on social media talking about everything in their business, but they spend way more time on Instagram than they actually do working in their business. And you're kind of sitting back going, unless they have a team of 10 people, they're doing a whole lot of talking and not a whole lot of moving. So how do you stop comparing yourself to those people with unproven results, but who are really good at the talk myself up game? Number one, we talked about this, not living in the world of competing and living in the realm of creation. But number one, if you find yourself still in the world of competing, do not compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. Like, there are some entrepreneurs who, they've built businesses, they've lost businesses, they've filed bankruptcy, they've built other businesses, they've sold businesses for millions. You cannot compare you being in a standpoint of not having even started a business or never having built a business. You cannot compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. It's an unfair comparison to you. It's an inaccurate comparison to them, because so often people will show you the before and the after, but they don't show you the during. And the during is everything. Like, before is cute and the after feels great in the moment. But the during, the hard stuff, the late nights, the early mornings, the things that people don't tell you about the entrepreneurial journey, that's the gold. And so number one, don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. Number 2, don't believe everything you hear. Listen, in fact, not only don't believe everything you hear, don't believe everything you see. There's this quote that goes, even salt looks like sugar. And so you want to be, and I'm not saying you want to be negative or pessimistic, but when you see other entrepreneurs posting, you listen to their podcast episodes, you follow them on social media, you see them showing you the bling bling and the fast cars and everything they're doing and how they did this in 6 months and how they make money while they sleep and all this kind of nonsense. Don't believe everything you hear, and don't believe everything you see. You don't know if they rented that $300,000 vehicle to do a video shoot for a weekend so they'd have content for 3 months on their Instagram stories. You don't know if an entrepreneur said they made 6 figures in 6 months, but really it was the result of one launch of a product per person, per client, that's $30,000, right? So then think about that. If you're launching something once a year, $30,000 per person. What does it take? 4 people to hit 6 figures? So all they had to do was sell 4 people once a year, and they're at $120,000. So don't believe everything you hear. You don't know the facts. You weren't there. And a lot of entrepreneurs believe in the fake it till you make it. I did my MBA at Auburn. They teach you in business school to fake it till you make it. Not real. And not accurate. And you know what? In fact, the fake it till you make it idea is not powerful. Now, faith it till you make it is powerful, but fake it till you make it is not. So number 2, don't believe everything you hear. And in fact, don't believe everything you see, because even salt looks like sugar. The third thing, and this to me is the best thing you can do to stop comparing and competing with people who talk more than they deliver in business. Third thing you can do is be someone who does way more delivering than talking. At the end of the day, what will take away completely, even if you don't stop comparing your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20, even if you don't stop believing everything you hear and questioning everything you see, even if you don't do the first 2 things, this one will nip this in the bud. Be someone who does way more delivering than you do talking. In other words, if I talked about doing this FB Live, if I talked about, well, I want to do an FB Live in this group and if I'm talking about it, but I'm not doing it, you ought to question what I'm talking about doing. And so when you become the kind of person who says, rather than go post it on Instagram, or rather than, sending an email to my email list and telling them, okay, I'm going to build this thing for you, just do it and put it out there. Like, I've got a new project on my mind right now, and I'm not going to talk about it because I'm just going to do it first, and then I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to put it out there. And so when you become somebody who delivers more than you talk, Your actions speak for themselves. Your results speak for themselves. In fact, you don't have to do the kind of talking that other people who are talking more than they're delivering are doing, because A, you don't have time. You're too busy. And B, your actions, your results, what you produce in the world speaks for itself. You never have to talk about it. So at the end of the day, here's the thing. Stop comparing and competing with people who do a lot of talking, a lot of self-glorifying, a lot of putting out a certain image into the world in business, and create what only you can create, build what only you can build, share what only you can share, and just focus on doing the work. Do the work, and the work will speak for you so much better and so much farther and with such conviction that you won't ever have to do the talking. You won't ever have to post on Instagram. You won't ever have to fabricate a business or life. Your actions will speak before you. You know, in the Bible it says, your talent makes room for you. And that's, I'm not going to do this on this FB Live. There's deepness to, like, I could go in 15 different directions with that. When it says that your talent makes room for you, you know what that means? When you use and activate your talent, when you show up in the world in your full power, when you share and give and serve, those actions produce amazing results, and the results speak for themselves. It makes room for you. You don't have to say, give me room. Your talent makes room. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can join us in the private group at facebook.com/groups/fire your inner critic. I will see you on the next FB Live training.